What is up, everybody? Welcome back to racenews.com. Welcome back to our Kentucky Derby update. And this is what we do every single Monday. Go over the Kentucky Derby latest news, what's to come, top five, and then, just keep on going all throughout the Kentucky Derby. Well, let's get into it now, and let's get into the latest update. We'll review what happened last week, because last week was pretty big, and we talked about it. We talked about a few things that could happen. And like I said, let's just get right to it. Barnes debuted last Wednesday. This was a horse we talked about a lot. And look, I think a lot of people expected a runaway win. That did not happen. He won by a nose. It was an amazing race. So if you didn't watch it, he broke towards the inside. He was fast, but they had other horses that were fast as well, and they kind of hemmed him in a little bit. The D. Wayne Lucas trained Innovator got the jump on him just a bit and had the lead going into the stretch. Barnes, who was trapped inside, finally got out in the stretch, and it took him the length of the stretch to get the job done. He was pretty green once he got into the stretch and was trying to chase down Innovator. At one point, it looked like he was going to do it pretty, not easily, but maybe win by about a length. Then he flipped his leads back to the wrong lead about mid-stretch, kind of broke the momentum a little bit, and that's where the greenness kind of came in, and then he was really struggling to get by. He does do it, though. They're assigned an 87 buyer for the effort, both him and Innovator, so Innovator really improved and ran big, and so, look, it wasn't a runaway effort. It was a good debut victory. I thought he was solid. He closed at like 15-1 in the Kentucky Derby future pool. That's too short, but he's a horse with a big future. He did not make my top five after this, but let's just see what he does. Let's give him time. Of course, this race going around one turn, you've got to think two turns might be a little bit better for him. So nice debut from Barnes. Should point out, Innovator, typical D. Wayne Lucas fashion. He's still a maiden, even though he got beat just a nose there. He's entered back in a stakes race on opening day at Oaklawn this Friday. So we're going to see him back real quick. That speed figure that he got for that race when he finished second to Barnes, that'll beat everybody on paper that's going to be in the Advent Stakes that he'll be in this Friday at Oaklawn. So keep an eye on him. We'll see how he comes back. I don't know. It's pretty quick turnaround. He ran pretty hard, but going to Churchill to Oaklawn to run in that stakes race as a maiden. So we'll see how Innovator runs. We also had the Stars of Tomorrow card at Churchill Downs. We had a really nice effort from Patch Adams in a maiden special weight. We'll talk more about him in a second. Also, Disco Time won an allowance race on that card as well. Two Brad Cox runners, two horses that look pretty darn good to me. I would keep an eye out for those two. Patch Adams, like I said, he may or may not be in the top five, so we'll kind of save it for him. Disco Time, he was a maiden special weight winner. Instead of going to the Kentucky Jockey Club, he went into an allowance race. And I know I kind of liked it because I kind of thought, well, they're setting him up maybe for a stakes race next time out, perhaps at the Fairground Circuit or at Oaklawn where Brad Cox will be. So didn't mind that. And of course, Patch Adams was a third place on a maiden at Saratoga, ran pretty well, and then came up to win. The highlight of the day was the Kentucky Jockey Club, or at least the highlight of that card. And First Resort was able to get the job done. Got a pretty good trip. Luis Saez worked out a good trip, and First Resort was able to get the win. So congratulations to him. He's not going to be in my top five, but I do think he ran awfully well, and he can move forward off of that race for sure. Jonathan's Way, I am, kind of disappointing. Wanted to see a little bit more for him in the stretch. Just didn't see it. So got second, though. Still ran okay, but just really never threatened the winner. So that's a little bit disappointing, I will say, for sure. And then Tistastic runs third, and he may be that horse that just runs third a lot. We'll see what happens with him down the road. And then finally, the last horse I want to talk about, we talked about Rated by Merit. He was going to take on the Florida Breds once again down at Gulfstream. He did so. He stretched out in distance for the first time to a mile and 16th. I thought he was awesome. He was assigned a 93 buyer, and that's higher than the Kentucky Jockey Club or Barnes that we talked about. So Rated by Merit, almost in my top five. I think he's pretty good. Keep an eye out for him, no doubt about it. So that's kind of what happened last week. What's coming up this week is the Remsen Stakes, and that's going to be a big one. There's a full preview out on the website now, so you can check that out. But the Remsen Stakes features a couple of Chad Brown runners that are pretty good. You got a Bill Mott that could be pretty good. And, so there's a lot of talent going to be hanging around at the Remsen. We'll have a full, like I said, preview that up on the website now. And we'll have a full recap of that on this show next week. So that's going to be the big event coming up. So a lot happened. Like I said, Barnes, had people talking one way or another. Those races at Churchill are always fun. And then, like I said, the big race by Rated by Merit, who I'm ready to see him now against the Florida in the Florida series down at Gulfstream against Open Company. He's more than earned that right. That, like I said, that was the best race of his career as he stretched out. I got to think race like the Mucho Macho Man and the Holy Bull, races like that. He looks tough to me. I think this Rated by Merit's a pretty damn good horse. I I almost put him in the top five. Or I got him like 6, 7, right around in there. All right. Speaking of top five, let's go through them now, and we'll go through them one by one. The number 5 is going to be Patch Adams. I thought he was super impressive, guys. Like I said, pretty good third place effort on debut at Saratoga. We hadn't seen him since. He shows up on the Stars of Tomorrow card there at Churchill in a maiden special weight. He just galloped away from him. He walloped him. So I was super, super impressed with him. Like I said, I think he's awfully good. I think we're starting to see the Brad Cox horses start to show out. And like I said, Disco Time ran very well in his win as well. But I thought Patch Adams was even more impressive. I know it was just a one-turn race. I know he's got to stretch out. He's an into mischief, out of a distorted humor mare. Maybe he won't stretch out all the way to 1.25 miles, but we're a long ways away from worrying about that at this point. We're trying to get 1.16 miles, I would say, next. I don't know why he can't do it, guys. I think he's pretty good. So keep an eye out on him. By the way, official margin of victory for him was 10.5. So pretty damn impressive for Patch Adams. I've got him at number 5. Sovereignty at number 4, another Churchill Downs winner. It came in the Street Sense Stakes, last time out. I thought he might run in the Kentucky Jockey Club. He did not. He's probably pointing for other races. But number 4, Sovereignty, for me, once again, very interested to see what he does. Number 3, East Avenue, a horse that was 2 for 2 and did it flawlessly, including winning the Breeders' Futurity at Keeneland by open links. Horrible break from the gate. Just, no chance in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Very disappointing. I do think he's going to come back and be okay, though. So East Avenue, number 3 for me. We'll just see. That's a total draw line through it for me. The number 2 is Gaming, and Gaming, a second place effort in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile last time out. Of course, Gaming was 2 for 2 coming into that race, but both races have been around one turn. He won the Del Mar Futurity going 7 furlongs, beating Citizen Bull, who beat him in the Breeders' Cup the next race. And I think the big difference is Citizen Bull had that race at 1.16 miles. Gaming was making his first start at 1.16 miles, first start around 2 turns at the Breeders' Cup. They got him beat that day. He looked like he had a chance to go by in the stretch, just couldn't catch. Citizen Bull, who is our number 1 horse, and of course, winner of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, also winner of the American Pharoah Stakes, which was the local prep there out in California for the Breeders' Cup. So 2 races at 1.16 miles, 2 wins. There's no question he can get the distance. There's no question he's going to get better as the distances get longer. I think that's the other big thing with him. The way he runs, pedigree, his style, getting out towards the front. As we get longer, I think he's going to get better and better. So I've got him at number 1. So to review, number 5, Patch Adams, number 4, Sovereignty, number 3, East Avenue, number 2, Gaming, and number 1, Citizen Bull. All right, guys, that'll do it for the Kentucky Derby show this week. We'll be back next week. We will see if we have a new top 5. Keewaydin runs in the Rimson. Of course, he was in the Sovereignty race, that Travers race on debut. All those horses debuted, and the top 4 have been running really well. So we'll see if maybe somebody out of the Rimson can make an impact. Just a reminder, last year, the Rimson winner was Dornoch, who won the Belmont Stakes, and he also won the Haskell, and he also won the Fountain of Youth. The second place horse was Sierra Leone, who went on to win, of course, the Bluegrass, the Risen Star, ran, on the board in a ton of big races before winning the Breeders' Cup Classic and probably being your 3-year-old of the year. So Sierra Leone, Dornoch, 2 pretty good horses out of the Rimson. I don't know that we got that this year, but I think it's a decent field. And so we'll talk about it, break it all down for you next week. All right, guys, that'll do it for this week. Thanks everybody for watching. Hit the like button if you like the video. Hit subscribe. You really like it when I get alerted anytime we do videos like this. And most importantly, tune in right here next week for another Kentucky Derby update.